Hey, I'm Zanzi, and welcome to Farmers Inside Track episode 212. I'm your host, Donumdu. Now, in this edition, we meet the CEO and co-founder of HelloChoice, Grant Jacobs. We find out how their digital marketplace that connects fruit and vegetables direct from the farm to buyers benefits South Africa's agricultural food and supply system, and more about the future of online agricultural marketplaces, and so much more. Grant Jacobs, it's an absolute pleasure to have you with me here on Farmers Inside Track. I must say, HelloChoice, we've been following. We love what you guys do. And for me to be able to chat to you is so exciting. But I usually like to start with an introduction of who I'm talking to first before we get into the juicy bits. So welcome and thank you so much for being here.
Only a pleasure. Thanks, Dawn. It's actually wonderful to have this chance to chat with you.
Now, maybe just more about you. Where did your journey start within the agricultural space, agri-tech? Where did all of this come to this point?
I've been involved in various stages of business around systems, financing, etc. But I'm actually a relatively newer comer to the agricultural space. I've been involved with HelloChoice for the last 5 years. My journey really started through a very close friendship with a farmer, by the way. His name is Graham Jarvie. He's actually the co-founder of HelloChoice with me. For many years, Graham's been talking about the challenges of farming and pricing and buying, distribution and logistics and etc. And Graham and I, as part of our friendship, decided that we would actually solve these problems together. That's actually how Graham and I started HelloChoice.
Sounds absolutely amazing. But maybe just as a start for some context, before we get into the services that you guys offer and more about HelloChoice, how are online technologies helping agri-food chain role players, from farmers to traders, agents, food processors, transporters, and then at the end, consumers?
I think the key thing is when you talk about the agricultural food chain and, some of the role players you spoke about, farmers and agents and food processors and markets and so on, is that straight away you start to understand that there's a lot of complexity involved. You've got multiple players, different products, different seasons, supply and demand, and how do all those role players work effectively to create value for themselves and obviously for their various customers. And in fact, lots of the answers in terms of how they operate lies within technologies, because when you look at a supply chain, if you're a farmer trying to sell to a buyer, a retailer, if you're a food processor who's trying to source inputs, you're a farmer trying to buy inputs, how do you do all these things? How do you know what is available, where, from whom, etc.? And what in fact online technologies really do is they make it so much easier to understand what's happening in your particular business as a farmer or a retailer or a food processor or a packer. And secondly, they make it so much easier and cheaper to transact plus affect your business. So I think the role that online technologies plays is that it makes it so much easier and cheaper for people to operate their businesses. And these days, where you're dealing with very, very competitive markets, cost pressures, economic pressures, every business needs every single competitive advantage they can find. And lots of those sources of competitive advantage come through online technologies.
Now, Grant, let's bring it home. How does HelloChoice specifically benefit South Africa's agricultural and food supply system?
The key thing for us, and really as a core, is we're a trading platform. And so we help connect buyers and sellers. So that's really, really at our core. There are a whole lot of other services we provide that actually link to that. And the key thing is that so if you think of the old physical marketplace, and physical marketplaces perform a critical component, buyers and sellers physically come together. But in fact, these days where you've got tens of thousands of farmers and tens of thousands of buyers, for them to physically always find a place to meet is very, very difficult. And using things like WhatsApp and email and voice calling and etc. is very, very inefficient. How do you track the documents, the pricing, etc.? So in fact, what we do is we make it much easier for buyers to find agricultural products like potatoes, onions, butternuts. About 2 years ago, we expanded into the whole range of grains, largely unstructured grains like dry beans, peanuts. And we also facilitate the logistics to get that product from wherever it is. It might be in a farm in Vivo in Limpopo to get to a buyer who's sitting in Durban, or it might be peanuts coming out of the Northwest getting into the Free State. So to make all those transactions happen as simply and as quickly and easy as possible is in fact really the role that HelloChoice plays.
I think you've already answered my next question in terms of how your platform benefits or the solution that you specifically give to buyers and sellers. But maybe if you could elaborate more on this. And I found it so interesting while scrolling through your website, even your Transporter Direct, which I think really makes it so much easier for producers, to come together and also just streamline that service specifically.
We are really what we call a full service platform. So the first element is just making the demand or supply visible. So, if like the buyer is looking for a product, we've got various ways of getting that request out to our seller base. And then once again, if sellers have got products, we've got various ways of getting those particular requests out. But we also go all the way to deal with the settlement, the actual transportation, following up to make sure that the actual transaction itself is concluded successfully.
So full circle.
Oh, full circle. And also the other thing, which is also terms we use, is we talk about dusty e-commerce. So on kind of one hand, we're a full service platform dealing with all the elements relevant to trading agricultural produce. And the second component is we actually have trade advisors, tech experts who engage with farmers and buyers and visit them on their farms, in their stores to understand what their practical requirements are. So it's really hands-on. One of the things that farmers are often very concerned about is this online platform. Who are these people? Whereas we have an online platform, but we've got a full supporting infrastructure to actually effect the economic transaction.
Yeah, you have the face. It's not just something that you see on a screen. So that definitely makes it different.
As I was saying earlier on to my career, I've actually been involved in various sectors from IT to mining to financial services. And, really the last 5-6 years, specifically in agriculture. The extent of the relationships in agriculture is one of the things that makes it very different. Buyers have a tremendous relationship with the brand. If they're buying a particular brand of potatoes or onions, the actual farmer values the quality of his product. He wants to know who it's actually going to. If there's actually feedback on the sizing of his product or the packaging, he takes it extremely personally. So one of the things about the agricultural sector is it is deeply personal.
Couldn't agree more with you there, Grant. And I think this definitely makes you different in terms of your offering compared to other platforms. What else would you maybe list as things that you guys do differently compared to other?
The other thing which is also very important is that as HelloChoice, we actually really run two platforms. First platform is our commercial marketplace, HelloChoice. But we run an impact platform called One Farm Share, which is really around helping smallholder farmers commercialize, also helping to reduce food waste and channeling that excess production into charities nationally to help overcome hunger. And the One Farm Share program, which really started as a COVID relief project, but has subsequently over the last 2 years grown into a full-blown impact platform through our partnership with the Standard Bank, plus a range of other corporate partners. What that does, it really brings that element of impact and inclusion and social change to HelloChoice. So kind of HelloChoice is both the commercial trading arm, which is HelloChoice, and in fact, One Farm Share. And what I'd love to do is to have some more time to talk specifically around One Farm Share. The stuff we're doing there is absolutely fantastic.
Of course, we can actually spend a little bit of time doing that if you'd like. To me, it sounds absolutely amazing. I have one or two more questions for you, but if you'd like to elaborate some more, that would be great, Grant.
What we do as One Farm Share is really three things. And in fact, the power of that is that those three things really work together to create tremendous economic value for farmers. It also creates tremendous value for our corporate partners whose either corporate social investment or in fact enterprise development money we actually manage. And it actually really helps reduce hunger. So kind of impacts are absolutely critical. The issue around food security And sometimes people talk about food security, and it's quite hard to understand what food security is. And the way that we see food security is that there is so much economic effort, sweat, blood, tears that goes into producing food. Dawn, if you go out and you walk with farmers in their lands, in their pack sheds, you see the labor that's working, you see the seed that's been used, you see the actual fertilizer that's going in, you see massive irrigation systems. There's so much economic effort and energy that goes into producing food. And then obviously once that food gets distributed, there's in fact tremendous cost and obviously lots of carbon which goes into actually moving that food. And when that food does not get used for its intended purpose, and that can happen through various things, through hail damage, it could happen through sizing, it could happen through a whole host of issues. That food is often wasted or lost, and that destroys tremendous economic value of all the participants who've helped create that food. But there's actually a second damning issue, because when food cannot be fed to people to help us sustain life, then it's the second terrible thing which is going on. And in a South African context where we've got millions of people who are hungry, starving, and in fact malnourished, to actually have food which could be eaten, destroyed, or lost, and not be able to channel that to hungry people is something we really cannot tolerate as a society and as an agricultural and food chain sector. And so one of the things that One Farm Share is doing is really partnering together with farmers, food processors, corporate partners, distribution agencies to coordinate how we can direct that excess food production, find out where it is, direct it into charities nationally. And we actually work with a number of very well-established and formal food distribution agencies. And then at the same time, supporting smallholder farmers so that they can really enter the commercial food supply system. In a kind of nutshell, Dawn, that's really what One Farm Share is about.
It sounds absolutely amazing, Grant, and I'm sure we can talk about this all day and break it down and look at all the elements and really look at your holistic view and take on this, and basically just to ensure that our country thrives and people are more food secure. And I really commend you guys for this specific initiative as well. Just back to more the HelloChoice side and more around the future of online agricultural marketplaces and what that will look like. Where do you see yourselves growing to, just the whole space within South Africa, but also within Africa?
We see the future of online marketplace agriculture is really about integration. It's about integration with the physical world. So I think often when you talk about online platforms, people focus very much on online, which obviously is. But in fact, because we're dealing with physical product that has to move between buyers and sellers and pack houses and food processors, storage facilities, what in fact we are really working very hard on is integrating our online marketplace with physical marketplaces like the municipal markets, like private markets, with transporters, warehouses, so that we can really optimize and unlock those efficiencies within the supply chain. So for us, the future is very much about building our online marketplace capability. We are very shortly, and in fact, we're going to do it the beginning of March, we are launching the new version of our mobile app, and we would love to tell you more about that, Dawn. So we will, maybe share some of the info and maybe can come back to you with some more details on that. So one is building out our online capability, but secondly, integrating with physical role players and in fact supply chain partners to actually unlock the value within the agricultural food supply chain.
Thank you so much, Grant, and I would be very happy to welcome you back, the team from HelloChoice, and you specifically. Would be great to get your insights again and more about this new platform or the relaunch of your app. So thank you so much for doing this and for being part of our Food for Mzansi family. So thank you so much, Grant. It has been an absolute pleasure to chat to you. Maybe just in closing, I love to ask all of my guests just to share their final message to Mzansi's farmers as we wrap up.
Well, Dawn, very nice chatting with you. I think my message maybe is that South Africa faces lots of challenges, and globally there are lots of challenges. But really, through partnerships, we're able to actually achieve so much. So the message is for anyone who wants to make a significant difference in the agricultural food supply chain sector to really reach out to partner with HelloChoice, partner with your customers, suppliers, because ultimately together we can actually achieve so much more.
Thank you so much for joining us here once again on Farmers Inside Track. That is, of course, the CEO and co-founder of HelloChoice, Grant Jacobs. And that's a wrap from me, Dawn Numdu, our producer Megan van de Vent, and the rest of the Food for Mzansi team. Have an absolutely amazing week. Bye for now.
Life in South Africa can be a lot. I mean, scroll through Twitter for a minute and tell me I'm wrong. Thank God for South Africans though, right? We're inspiring, and even on the bad days, we fight back with a smile. That's why I love Food for Mzansi so much. They're not ashamed to celebrate the ordinary unsung heroes who work every day to put food on our nation's tables. Go to foodformzansi.co.za and never miss an inspiring story.